Hello, fellow travelers. This is Veronica from Human Design Journey with the weekly transit, which is the weather, so to say, where the planets, it shows us where the planets, how they move, and the transit forecast or the transit field. It shows us what influences are there in the air, which we can feel and see in the news and everywhere around us, basically. So the sun entered the 27th gate. Yesterday. And in the gate of caring, the 27th gate. So yeah, the 27th gate. And we have two channels defined. So let's first look at those, since they're there for some time and they're going to give us influence for some time. So we have the 35th gate, which is in Venus, the values and relating and everything about aesthetically acceptable for us, together with the 36th gate in Neptune, which is going to be there till 2025. So we have here Venus, yeah, for several more days. It will stay there before it will move to the 45th gate. So we have the channel of transitoriness, jack of all trades. It is about the progress in the 35th gate. Here we have an emotional manifesting channel that will try anything and everything and everywhere at any time, even if there is no obvious value, just to try out something new to obtain experience. And it might grant over time some wisdom when you go over the experiential way and look backwards from a higher perspective, from the perspective of time. So yeah, experience is the worst teacher because it gives the test before presenting the lesson. Over time, gaining all this experience, basically the 35, 36 can turn back and tell you, well, you can do that, try that, try that. I've been there, done that. So there is a lot of experience in the air, wanting to share this experience with people around us. And without emotional clarity, especially with an open emotional center and open throat, this energy will be pushing you, giving you the potential, the possibility, and the expression to do things much faster than they might actually be healthy for you. So be aware, especially if you're with an open throat or you don't have a direct connection. It's adrenalized, emotional energy for action and talking. So too much talking, too much action, too much doing. A lot of drama also in the air. We're going to look in a second in the 39, 35. But here we have the collective circuit sharing and sharing experience. sharing what they do and not what they think. It might require doing things that have never been done before, and that may not be easy. And that's what makes actually the whole process so interesting to share. It's exploring, it's the channel of the explorer, and it's also very sexual energy. So a lot of drama, a lot of exploration. And then we have also this very dramatic channel of moodiness, this dramatic individual spiritual channel about songs, chants, praises, liturgy. Yeah, the channel of moodiness, it's the channel of Marlon Brando. It's connecting directly the spirit in the emotional center to the obstruction, the gate of obstruction in the root center. So here we have extremes of mood. It's an individual channel of moodiness, also part of a stream that includes a concern with and focus on romance, love, and passion. So it is the individual circuit in general is deeply moody or melancholic, and this channel is the height of that melancholy. So there is a lot of uncertainty in the air because emotional individuality is all about uncertainty. It's easy to be up or down on the wave and not knowing what to expect. Basically, the experience of this continuous swing from certain to uncertain and back is really normal. But we are under this influence, and especially if we are with an open root, open emotional system, we're under the pressure, the fuel for abstraction, looking for the spirit, provoking to look the spirit, for the right spirit. And there is melancholy in the air. It's can be very creative also as energy, and it can be with a lot of pressure um to be passionate and pressure to know when the pulse is not something you can really know. So this is the energy in the air, which gives kind of the background, emotional, pressurized energy for doing and talking, which is what influences everybody at this moment. So yeah, we have let's look at the specific gates. So if we look at the 39 is activated by Mars in the 6th line. So obstruction, the gate of provocation, the value of obstruction, provoking analysis, assessment, and reevaluation. And in the 6th line, it is the troubleshooter, the natural gift for solving problems. Ego dominance that generally abuses gift for self-aggrandizement and personal ambition rather than for the benefit of others. The emotional drive to dominate that provokes others. And it's an explosive, immature energy as well, because it's Mars. And that is doubled with the limitation and Saturn is about discipline. So the 55th gate in line 6, abundance, the gate of spirit. Abundance is strictly a question of spirit. And the 6th line, selfishness. Acquisition, obsession that though alienating is still indirectly beneficial materially to others. The possibility of finding the spirit through materialism. So it's a very, very materialistic line. And this is how we are going to be restricted in our selfishness and materialism, in finding our spirit through materialism. Hence, you don't follow your strategy and authority. Then we have the 35th and the 36th gate, the 36th by Neptune, 5th line, the darkening of the light, the gate of crisis, the rule of cycles in which decline is a natural but not enduring stage. And we have 5th line, the underground, perfected survival regardless of conditions, immunity to crisis, both generator and survivor. And the other side, a nervousness that can lead to self-betrayal, self-betraying nervousness in times of crisis. And on the other side, we have the 35th gate twice, actually, in 4th gate by the moon. So the driving force, focus of the mind for some time. And also we have Venus in the 35th gate also for a few more days. And it is the hunger, the line of the hunger. So the progress, the gate of change, by design, progress cannot exist in a vacuum and is dependent on interaction. Here we have the 4th line, hunger, the insatiable appetite for progress. Less severe, symbolized by the phase of the moon. The drive may be obsessive with the moon when the moon is full, but like the fading of the moon, the obsession abates. Change for change's sake. The drive lessens with age. So here we have, as we said, jack of all trades. It's looking for the opportunity to satisfy, but it's insatiable. So it cannot be satisfied. Appetite for progress, and trying to change things. And together with the darkening of the light, the underground and self-betrayal. Hence, you don't wait. Emotional clarity if you're emotional, and you don't act under the emotional potential here and possibility for expression in the current energy field. You might be out of line and not be correct. Then yeah, we have the 3955. So obstruction, the gate of provocation. We saw that one already, the gift for solving problems. And again, in the 6th line, the selfishness. So, excuse me, we have this in the slower moving planets. Now let's look at the sun and the 27th gate. It's interesting that the sun, Earth, and the nodes are in the same gate. So we have the gate of caring, part of the channel of preservation, part of the defense circuit. It's about nourishment and caring, because nothing can survive without it. So this is the basically the power for nourishment, for care, and it's also to be cared for and to be nourished. it's not only about making children, it's also about taking care of them and so that they survive. It's also about taking care that they get the correct values and moral of this world so as to leave them as, good human beings. That's what the world wants. That you raise good people who are caring. And when the possibility of values and the expression of caring come together, we have the channel of preservation, a design of custodianship, those who preserve and protect. Oh, this is the gate of compassion, the power to care for the weak, the sick, and the young, and can be impressively altruistic in its manifestation, as in the case of Mother Teresa of Calcutta, 27th gate. And we had it yesterday in the first line, selfishness. So on one hand, we have selfishness in the sixth line of the 55th gate. Acquisition obsession that, though alienating, is still indirectly beneficial materially to others, the possibility of finding the spirit through materialism. And here in the first gate, we also have selfishness, which is the ego-driven first law of caring for oneself, which is not necessarily at the expense of others, the power to care for oneself first. As you see, selfishness is connected to taking care of your own needs. In one case, in the sixth line, it's also transpersonal, so it's also about the other. But here we have the second line. At the first line, it's about introspection. It's about getting the stable foundation basis. The basis of caring is taking care of yourself first. Then today we have the second line, self-sufficiency, the obvious law that to give one must have. The mother, the great nourisher, the strength to nurture and the power to care. The child, depleting the resources of others, weakness that can sap the strength and power of others. So the energy right now is to be a hermit left alone, to be self-sufficient, taking care of yourself, being the great nourisher, or depleting the resources of others until you get the call, and then you become the great nourisher. Tomorrow we have the third line, greed. It's an interesting line. It's about wanting to have more than you need. And actually, this is exactly where the North Node is for quite some time. The obsession with having much more than one needs, the psychological manifestation, the obsession, dependency of knowing what is hidden. The secret policeman, the power derived in having more than one needs, whether sexually, mentally, or materially. Mundane, that's the other side, and holy, without redeeming value, greed, a lust that inevitably cripples and addicts, the lust for power to get more than one needs. And we're gonna have that tomorrow and the background frequency. Actually, the nodes are their gates, their portals to the stellar. They're points in space which are entry points to conditioning and to the neutrino field of the outer stars from outside the Milky Way, from other galaxies. And it is the connection of the bigger plan. It's a connection to the bigger picture. So we have the experience, and tomorrow will be the height and of this feeling, because also the sun goes into the third gate, as well as the node. So we're really going to see it, and in the background frequency, and in the light of the day, the shine of the day. And same will be with the 28th gate. But let's first finish the 27th. So the fourth line, the day after, we will have generosity, the natural sharing and of attained abundance, magnanimous and qualitative sharing, the gift of rewarding those who are deserving, the power and strength to share generously, indiscriminative sharing, potential loss of power and strength through indiscriminate sharing. So oversharing can be here with your network, being very generous, looking for the opportunity in the natural sharing and attained abundance with others. Maybe you share now, they give you back later. The opportunity for generosity is here. Then we have the fifth line, the executor, the ability to distribute effectively the resources of others. On one side, either the gifted and principled agent of distribution or the good sense and ability to find one, the power and strength to care for the resources of others. And the other side, a restrictive nature that hampers distribution or the seeking of advice and assistance. Weakness and the risk of loss of power restrict caring. Power, restrict caring. What an interesting combination. And it's a loss of power of restrict caring. It's in the sixth line. It's in the fifth line. The executor, so it's the projection field, which with its restrictive nature, so it because of Saturn, hampers distribution or the seeking of advice and assistance. So it's caring, which it has the projection that it will have the ability to distribute effectively or not. Then the sixth line, wariness, a protection against an abuse of generosity. On one side, a practical and realistic approach to nurturing whose appropriateness is guided by feelings and instinct, the power and strength to be realistic in one's capacities to care and nurture. And the other side, a tendency to over-suspiciousness, the power of suspicion in limiting expression of caring. So over-suspiciousness or realistic approach to nurturing. So this is the energy of the sun. So it's the expression and life force of this day, and where we have the grounding and balance in the 28th gate. Let's look at its lines. So yesterday we were in preparation. So the 28th gate is the gate of the game player, preponderance of the great, transitoriness of power and influence. It's about risk-taking, the fear of death, the fear of failure, not failure, but excuse me, the fear of that it was not worth it, that there is nothing to fight for. And the first line, yeah, part of the channel of the struggle. So the first line, preparation. The desire to be effective manifested in the application of energy to detail, the intuition to potentially apply energy to detail, and the other side, the aesthetic appreciation of planning that may have no real application, an intuition for detail without the potential for application. So yesterday, examining things in a lot of detail, desire to be effective, preparing, but not necessarily taking action, not necessarily taking risks. Today we have the shaking hands with the devil, which is distasteful alliance, a means, however unsavory, that is justified by its end. When the game turns to a struggle, the intuitive acceptance of any alliance in order to win. The anxiety engendered by sacrificing higher principles when there is no guarantee of success. The risk in sacrificing principles when there is no guarantee of success, of victory. So shaking hands with the devil, today people are ready to do things no matter what, as long as they win at the end, or so they think. Tomorrow, the third line, adventurism, unfounded risk-taking, a basic conservatism that even in adventurous act is necessarily prudent, an intuitive caution in risk-taking in times of struggle, or the other side, a perverse manifestation of Jupiter's expansiveness, where risk-taking is rationalized and failure ensured. Intuitive rationalizing of risk-taking in times of struggle. And this paired with the 28-3, the South node, which is in the same adventurism gate, it becomes quite a ride. And actually, it's here till the 21st of May, and then the shaking hands with the devil comes. So watch it today. That's what's gonna await us after the 21st of May. Or 22nd days until the 16th of June. So then we have the fourth line. The day after tomorrow. Holding on, the ability through whatever means to keep one's grip, the application of knowledge to exploit opportunities and usually for the greater good, a depth of intuition at its best in struggle and often of value to others, the application of intelligence to hold on exclusively out of self-interest, a depth of intuition that is stubbornly selfish in its capacity to hold on. Then the day after, fifth line, treachery, the abuse of trust, the manipulation of the collective that while putting one's faction against the other does not directly support or reject either. The intuitive capacity of the game player to provoke struggle amongst others, and the other side, the breaking of alliances with trusted forces to align with more powerful forces and its attendant destabilization of the whole. The intuitive recognition in times of struggle to know when alliances must be broken and its destabilizing effect on others. And this is really, it's going on for a long time, this treachery as well. It was, and yeah, it's really those times right now. We can see it in the political arena, on the geopolitical stage, how apparently the geopolitics are really right now being played off. New cards are being dealt, new alliances are being formed. We really see the communist regimes with other dictatorships and authoritarian leaderships in somehow in forming alliances, and in contrast with the democracy and the Western way of trying to get grip and hold of resources. So it's, the same purpose for redistributing and distributing, getting hold of resources, and it's for the same purpose, but with different ideologies behind it. I don't know which one is for the better and which one is for the worst. Then we have the sixth line, blaze of glory, sacrifice rather than capitulation to the law of deterioration, regeneration and renewal no matter what the price, the deep intuitive drive to win no matter what the cost. And the other side, self-destruction, the deep intuitive fear of defeat, and potentially profound hopelessness in times of struggle. And all of that is happening with the Mercury communication and thinking in the second line, the receptive, the gate of direction of the self. In the third line, patience, the teacher that never stops being a student. So a lot to learn in those times, guys. For the revolutionary, patience is a vice, higher knowing that cannot wait and demands expression. And also we have Uranus, the unusualness, chaos, and innovation, also in the second gate, sixth line, the fixation, unable or unwilling to see the whole picture. With Mercury exalted, less negative though than intellect, becomes absorbed in constant rationalization, higher knowing that is extremely narrow in its receptivity. And withdrawn, narrow and withdrawn, the receptive knowing the way, the higher self, what pulls us on our geometry. And we have also the Uranus, the Jupiter law and protection in the 42nd gate, increase the gate of growth, the expansion of the resources, which maximizes the development of full potential. In the fifth line, self-actualization, the fulfillment and actualization of purpose is a natural path whose reward is healthy sense of self rather than the power and influence that naturally follow. Growth that is self-fulfilling and naturally leads to influence, or the other side, self-actualization, is a strictly inner experience that may demand or result in a reclusive nature, inner growth that empowers reclusiveness. Oh, I know this so well. I have it, and it's in a channel, and it's the format channel that I have, 4253, so it's always active. And yeah, really both sides are really present. I can relate to that. So this is what has been going on since yesterday, and part of it for several weeks, part of it for several days, and this is what's going to be going on for the next week and a little bit longer with the notes. So caring and nourishment coupled with the game player and risk taking, knowing what to fight for. You fight for what you care, right? And if we look for the harmonic gate, the 50th gate, things which are of value. So our values together with our nourishment and caring together are forming the channel of custodianship, part of the defense circuit. It's about the survival of humanity in general. So this is the caring energy, which with the gate of limitation in the fifth gate, acceptance, the fifth line, leadership, the awareness that the destruction of the old limitations simply creates new ones, the results in behavior patterns that demonstrate this understanding through actions and enhances leadership potential, the energy to handle a lifelong process of dealing with limitations, and the other side, where the natural desire for expansion when limitations are essentials creates confusion from the top, expansive energy that cannot handle limitation. Limitation of caring and nourishment and taking risks. And all of that is it's quite a heavy energy. There is a lot of melancholy, wanting to share the experience and no patience at all to wait, the emotional clarity, but under adrenalized pressure, we might result in saying or doing things we might regret later. So this is the transit field, this is the influence, this is what is pouring as neutrino rain over us. So strategy and authority, put your raincoat. You don't have to go through that if there's nothing for you there. You will know that if there is something to respond, if you're invited, if you're initiated, or if you feel the impulse to initiate as a manifestor. And your true and authentic answer, if you were asked, invited, imposed, or initiated, is your truth, and will keep you grounded, will keep you on the least resistance track. This is from me. I'm Veronica from Human Design Journey. Happy to be useful. And remember, it's all about strategy and authority, guys. The rest is just interesting food for the mind. Like and subscribe to my channel, Human Design Journey. Visit my website, humandesignjourney.com, or Instagram and Facebook with the same name. And I'll be back with more. Bye for now.